Hi folks, today we're going to be taking the front clip off this old Chevrolet. I'm going to show you where the bolts are, and we're taking it complete. Hood, front bumper, the whole works. I've taken the bumper with it because on the side here it has these filler panels in here that go in behind the bumper. They're attached to the fender and they're attached to the valance panel underneath. And I'm going to use the clip complete, so we'll just leave that on there. We'll open her up here. I gotta set you down. Okay, we're gonna start out with the radiator support itself. Has this bolt here, carriage bolt on top, not supposed to spin, always does. Got a nut down there, maybe you can see that. Oftentimes, it's just as easy to get in there and cut that nut off. One on each side. We come back here up under the back edge of the hood. There's a bolt to the cowl, and then two bolts for the hinge to the cowl. We'll open up this door. Squeaky. We got one bolt up at the top back corner of the fender. There's no other bolts inside. And then I'll show you a little closer. But underneath, going through the rocker panel structure, there's a bolt that comes out into the brace that's in the back of this fender. It's got a little J-nut, clip nut, whatever you call it. They always break loose and just spin the whole things. There's a couple solutions for that. I'll show you. And back, I'll get you where you can see it. Yeah, you might see that. There's two half-inch headed bolts right there in that inner fender panel that goes to a brace. That needs to come out. And on each side, there's three bumper bolts. There's one for this brace right here, and then two pretty good sized guys there for the bracket itself to the frame. Take your wiring harness loose, which really wasn't too big a deal on this one. It mostly was. And maybe get you a buddy or two and lift the whole thing off if that's how you care to do it. If you want to disassemble and take one fender, it actually is more bolts to do that. I'll bring you in for the high points. Said I'd bring you back for the highlights. We're going to go after this bottom fender mounting. One thing you need to look at, need to notice, is this notch right here in the bottom flange of that fender. That's directly below the bolt that holds that on, and there's some alignment shims right here. We'll slide in a little further. This could be hard to see. But can you see that? There's a 9/16 headed bolt right there. That's the inside end. And I usually use a 1/2-inch socket or a drive socket. Put it on there and I beat on it with a hammer a little bit. Another thing to do is get up in there and try to spray your favorite penetrating oil right up. I bet that don't show up against the sky. There you go. There's a J-nut in there, clip nut. I also bend this flange open a little bit, then I can get a wrench in there, help hold that nut, because it's going to break loose. It always does. Let me get that opened up and we'll look in there again. Okay, got the impact on the socket in there. That's a really shiny impact socket, of course. Got a 9/16 wrench that will fit the square on that little clip nut. I'm going to have to set you down because I got to hold the wrench and pull the trigger. Let's see what happens here. Louie. Oh, why don't people clean their cars before they park them for 4 years. Okay, I know I got it loose some because the shims fell out. I'm not quite done though, a little more. Well, that worked as designed. There's the two shims. That's the bolt that goes through the rocker. And that's the nut that breaks off the little clip. But all the damage I did, you can barely see it. A little bit of time with a hammer and dolly, and that would just disappear. If I got a fight on the other side, I'll show you that one. Okay, got the front clip. Everything should be unbolted. I've got the multi-purpose ratchet straps. They are your friends. I've got it hooked behind the, see if we can get here, behind the bracket for the mount, so these won't slide forwards or anything. The hood's between, so it shouldn't pull the fenders together. Up here in the front, I'm hooked outside a bumper bracket on each side, so it shouldn't slide together. And we all know the bumper's going to be a heavy part. So I'm head of center. And I got all that hooked to my other multi-purpose tool. I got a little angle on that cable, so as it lifts, it's going to want to pull forwards. Let's see if the theory works. Now I'm going to raise the winch up a little, and I'm sure I'm going to have to wiggle a fair amount to get that bumper to slide off the frame, but it needs to come forward some first, so we'll see. Okay, that's not where you hook it on the bumper, because it wants to roll the bumper and it pinches on the frame. We're going to redo that. Well, there we have it. Front clip come off one piece. Don't believe we damaged anything. Had a little bit of a clearance issue with the back of the inner fender panel there, getting up in between the A-arm, the tire, and that hole right there. I could be a little further back on the balance, but I think that's good. That is a success. Next, we get the old iron out underneath there. That old True 35, I see no reason to save much of anything off of it. When I got the car, it didn't have an intake or exhaust on it and full of dirt, so it ain't gonna turn. I got confidence it ain't gonna turn. That's up next. Like, comment, subscribe if you would. Thank you very much.